Hello and Assalamu Alaikum. I'm Marwa. Welcome to Naramis. May 11, 1998, a date India celebrates as National Technology Day, marks a turning point in South Asian security. On that day, India conducted a second round of underground nuclear tests in Pokhran, claiming a new status as a nuclear power. But what's hailed as technological achievement by New Delhi rings alarm bells in Islamabad and far beyond. Why? Because this wasn't just a scientific breakthrough. It was a signal of India's intent to shift the balance of power in the region using nuclear weapons as a tool for political and military dominance. The tests weren't isolated incidents either. They were the culmination of decades of policy that started with India's so-called peaceful nuclear explosion in 1974. A move that blatantly undermined international non-proliferation norms and emboldened unchecked military ambitions. Here's the part most of the world ignores. These nuclear strides were never just about defense. They were about deterrence through coercion, wrapped in the narrative of national pride. India's nuclear trajectory is carefully engineered for dominance, not deterrence. Today, as New Delhi continues to position itself as a responsible global actor, one must ask, how does a nation expanding its nuclear arsenal outside international safeguards continue to enjoy global legitimacy without facing scrutiny? South Asia today is one of the most volatile nuclear regions in the world, and it did not get here by accident. The events following the Pokhran 1 tests laid the groundwork for a nuclearized rivalry between India and Pakistan, rooted in deep political hostility and unresolved territorial disputes. When India conducted its 1998 tests, Pakistan was left with no choice but to respond in kind. Islamabad's nuclear response was not driven by ambition, but by necessity to restore strategic balance and deter aggression. Since then, India has adopted a more aggressive posture, evident from its cold start doctrine and recent cross-border strikes following incidents like Pahalgam. These actions show a pattern. India seeks to redefine thresholds of conventional and nuclear engagement. This nuclear brinksmanship increases the risk of miscalculation. One misstep could trigger a conflict no side can control. And what's worse, the world watches quietly, framing India as a stabilizing force despite its provocative doctrines. While India presents itself as a restrained nuclear power, the scale and secrecy of its weapons development tell a different story. Over the past 2 decades, India has aggressively expanded its nuclear arsenal, building a full nuclear triad: air, land, and sea-based delivery systems. But this is only the surface. Estimates suggest India possesses around 490 nuclear weapons, including tactical nuclear warheads. According to insides like Dr. R. Rajaraman, covert plans were in motion as early as 2005 to raise the number to 300 to 400. This massive buildup goes beyond deterrence. It signals strategic escalation. The infrastructure behind this expansion is equally alarming. India's Dhruva reactor, not covered by IAEA safeguards, is just one part. Add to that a network of fast breeder reactors and the construction of South Asia's largest covert nuclear city designed to mass-produce nuclear weapons. These projects operate in the shadows, away from international oversight. India's unchecked access to fissile material and missile systems enabled by political cover and the Indo-US nuclear deal gives it the capacity to surpass traditional nuclear powers like the UK and France. This is not restraint. It's an arms race by design. Despite India's growing nuclear stockpile and military-grade infrastructure, global institutions remain conspicuously silent. Much of this silence is rooted in geopolitics. India's status as China's opponent and a strategic ally for the West has shielded it from scrutiny. The 2008 Indo-US nuclear deal is a key enabler. It granted India access to nuclear technology under the pretext of civilian use, even though India never signed the Non-Proliferation Treaty. Worse, large quantities of its civilian plutonium remain outside IAEA safeguards, allowing potential diversion for weapons production. And yet, Western media often turns a blind eye. Instead of confronting India's violations, they amplify concerns about other regional actors like Pakistan. The narrative is distorted, and until this bias is addressed, South Asia will continue to suffer from a dangerously one-sided nuclear discourse. India's nuclear journey, cloaked in the rhetoric of progress and security, has taken a path far more dangerous than the world is willing to admit. What began as a quest for technological prestige has transformed into a covert arms buildup. one that openly violates international norms and systematically threatens regional stability. Pakistan's response has always been based on strategic necessity, not on provocative choices. Yet the international community continues to ignore this balance, rewarding India's unchecked expansion with silence, trade deals, and strategic alliances. Today, India has civil nuclear cooperation agreements with 14 countries, which is very concerning. If the world truly seeks non-proliferation and regional peace, it must stop enabling double standards. It's time to reassess the real threat, because silence today may lead to catastrophe tomorrow. Thank you for watching. Drop your thoughts in the comments below and be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, stay safe and stay kind. Allah Hafiz.